I'm so glad that you clicked on today's video today. And as you can see by the thumbnail and the title, I'm going to be bringing you a mini book haul as well as some footage of my life over the last couple of weeks, some fun things that I got to do. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight in. But to start out with the books, I do have some also here on my Kindle that I recently either purchased or just downloaded with the Kindle Unlimited subscription. And so we'll start with those. First, we have Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. It's a literary fiction, and I've been really into that genre. I've only read a couple, maybe about 3 books so far, and I definitely want to continue in that genre. And so I picked up that book. Then I ended up getting The Great Gatsby. I don't think I ever read this. I know I haven't. Never watched it, read it, or anything. This was something that was like a required reading for some school districts. I don't know if this was for me. I hear so much talk about it. So many people like it. And it was available to purchase, I think for like less than $1 or around $1. So I just purchased it. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm excited. Then I picked up Just Last Night by Mari McFarlane. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I'm not sure. But this is also a literary fiction, but it's also has a subplot of romance. And this just sounds so interesting. I also wanted to pick it up. I purchased this book. Don't really know too much about it. I try not to watch too many book reviews of books that I like want to read. I usually just look at them quickly to get like a little minute gist, and then I quickly like skip so I don't hear too much about the book. And then a book that I downloaded from Kindle Unlimited was Assistant to the Villain because it was available on Kindle Unlimited. I've heard a lot of things about that. People like it, and so I thought it would be great to get that copy. And then I picked up Keep It in the Family, which is a psychological thriller. I'm on a lot of Facebook book club groups, and I'm specifically in one for psychological thrillers and mysteries. And that book is like the book everyone wants to read. And apparently chapter 39 has like 1 word, and everyone feels like they're like in the club when they get to that chapter. And it's supposed to be like one of the best thrillers out there. And so I downloaded that with Kindle Unlimited because they have that. If I like it, then I'll get a physical copy, but pick that up. Then I got Daughter of No Words. I heard some things about that. It's a fantasy book, and I think it's only a duology or a trilogy. I don't think it's very long, or maybe it's just a book by itself. And so I grabbed that with Kindle Unlimited. So I picked up that book, The Children of Blood and Bone, because it's a fantasy book written by a Black author, and Kayla's Bookish Vibes. I love following her on YouTube. She said that book was fantastic, so I got that. She also recommended a psych thriller by a Black author called All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. And thrillers, psychological thrillers, mysteries are definitely one of my favorite genres of books to read. And so I picked that one up too to read. I also picked up The Pumpkin Spice Cafe on Kindle Unlimited, or on Kindle rather. It was 99 cents, so I purchased it. That's gonna be like the second and the last fall focused book I read. I'm currently reading Coming Home to Stars Fall on Kindle, and that is a really cute rom-com, grumpy sunshine, cozy fall vibes book, and I'm loving it. I'm like 70-something% in that book, and I'm about to finish it. And so my last fall book to kind of read to the end of this month into November will be The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I did hear that it's very spicy, and I personally do not like reading smutty nor spicy books. I prefer closed door books. In my opinion, that's just what I think is best. I really don't think I need to read that. And so I will probably have to skip some of it, but hopefully it doesn't take away from the story and whatnot. I might even look online to see if anyone reviewed it and if they have specific pages, if they knew it was on, so I can prepare myself. Otherwise, if you know, leave it down below in the comments for me. And then the very last Kindle Unlimited book recently that I picked up was Beneath the Scarlet Sky, but that also happens to be one of the books that I ended up picking up at Second and Charles a few days ago. And I got the Kindle Unlimited copy because it was included in my subscription, but I ended up picking up a physical copy at Second and Charles, and this book was $8.95 or $8.55, I can't remember. So really great deal. It's a super thick book. It's written by Mark Sullivan. And I got the Kindle Unlimited copy just in case I don't want to carry around the big book with me. I can like just open up my Kindle because it's always in my purse and read it that way. But this book I'm really excited to read. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. I'll post her little thing up here too. She did a reading vlog reading this book and just described it in such a fantastic way. So it follows the War of World War II. Now that is my personal I wouldn't say favorite because it really is a warrior favorite, but in terms of history and reading anything from back in the day, World War II, the Nazis, the Holocaust, Germany, all of that happened in France, like that for me is something that piques my interest, and I really love learning about that time. To me, it just sounds like something of like a coming of age, historical fiction based on a true story, just like beautiful. And even I picked up the book and I started reading the preface by Mark Sullivan himself. I just read like the first page of it and it was beautiful. And so basically Mark is just explaining how he was just having a really hard time. He had written some books in the past that weren't doing very well. He didn't really know what his purpose was in terms of writing. He was just feeling down and depressed and really was thinking about ending it all. And he said he was driving home one day. He had made the decision that I think this is it. I'm just gonna end it right here in his car. And he said his family just kind of flashed before his eyes. And he said he pulled over to the side of the road and he kind of prayed and was like, God, I need you to show me what to do. What do you want me to write? Show me my purpose. How am I supposed to be useful in this world? What can I do? Whose story can I tell? And he said literally that night or the next week, that was next week's over dinner, he heard about this story, reached out to Pino, found him and interviewed him for weeks and over 23 months, got all the information to write this beautiful story. And so just reading that first page of his preface and knowing what it took to get him here, I have to read it. And so I cannot wait to dive into this book. And then to go into the next book I picked up at Second and Charles a couple days ago, which I actually started basically just like tabbed the first page of the chapter 1. So I don't say if I really started this book, but that is Take My Hand by Dolan Perkins Valdez. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. But this is also written by a Black author. And I saw Kayla's Bookish Vibes. She reviewed this, said it was really good. Even on my book clubs that I'm on Facebook, I'm in like an all Black women book club. And this was another book that they recommended. And this just sounded so good. So this is post-segregation in the South. And this woman, what is her name? Sybil Townsend. She's working at this Montgomery family planning clinic. And her first 2 patients ended up being 2 young children. And basically, the family planning clinic is like where, you administer, birth control and all of those different things. This is based on a true story. It started out with her like telling the story to her daughter about what happened and just her past and what this journey was like, working back in the day as an African-American doctor and this situation of these 2 young girls and what happened to them in their story and just kind of talking about it. She said it was very thought-provoking. She says it was sad. It was kind of a lot. And so I'm excited though to read it. I hope that's explaining it very well. Again, I'm pretty much going into this blind, basically just kind of skimming over what I see on the back, but I am very excited to read this. Then I also picked up at Second and Charles a book that a lot of people, or an author, tons of people love. And I've never read any other books, but this was the one book from them that I wanted to read the most. There's a few more by them that I want to read, and that is by Kristen Hanna, The Nightingale. This is also based around World War II, and so that's really why I wanted to read it. And I think this follows 2 sisters who are separated by years and experienced by ideals, passions, and circumstances, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. This is a heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. This is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. That sounds amazing. I don't know what it is about World War II and learning about it that just fascinates me so much, and I'm so interested in it, but also reading it from a woman's perspective, like the Paris Library. There's a lot of them that I have saved that are historical fiction that you can find, like if you even search them up based on World War II. But something about just how women in general are just kind of those people where you're almost like missed over and kind of brushed under the rug, and definitely much it's like almost like a man's world. And in the war, a man will have a story. In this tough situation, a man will have a story. I think there's even one that she wrote, I think, around like the Great Depression maybe, and focusing on like a woman's perspective in it as well. And so I just really love that it's like, I guess you would call this like feminine fiction. I'm not sure of like the right word or whatever, but women's fiction, there we go. I just think that is so amazing. It's really good to look at things from a woman's perspective, and that needs to be done more often. And so I just think I'm really excited to read this. It is a chunker, really thick book, but it's in perfect condition. Picked it up from Second and Charles. I think this was like 17 bucks. So a lot cheaper than it would have been, I think, at Barnes & Noble, maybe. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this book. I have not read anything, not even like the first page. Usually when I pick up a book, I'll read like the first page of it to kind of see. But I haven't. Super excited to dive into this. And then I picked up a book from Barnes & Noble. So I don't really know what made me, well, no. Reading the synopsis got me. That's why I picked it up. But I don't know what made me buy this in hardcover instead of getting it on my Kindle and saving the money. And I don't know what made me pick up the thickest book they've written instead of their previous works. I'm not sure why I did that, because when I tell you I've started this book, I'm currently on page 20, chapter 2. This is a lot, and that is Sally Rooney's new book, Intermezzo. I picked it up from Barnes & Noble. I don't know how I feel about her writing, and I feel like it's just like $29. It was like 30 something. It's not that it's not interesting. I'm only into chapter 2, page 20. It's just that she doesn't use quotations, which I know I've heard that, but like it's almost like I forgot. And so it makes it a little bit kind of confusing. It's almost like you're reading like a textbook or some literature, a really thick classic, and you're like sitting down. I have tabs in here. I've tabbed a couple things, and I've like started like writing in it. It felt like a textbook. Like I need to underline, highlight, write, tab. That's what it's reading like to me. And there's a lot of like inner dialogue from one of the main characters. I think his name is Peter. But yeah, without the quotations, you really have to pay attention to know who's talking and when. He thinks so much that it's like he's giving overthinker. And if, like me, I am definitely like an overthinker. And so it's weird reading someone think so deeply and so vast about so many things. It's just strange. I don't know. It's a lot here. I'm going to give it a chance. I have no clue when I'm going to finish this. It is super thick. I'm thinking sometime in next year, just because I feel like it's a book that I really have to pay attention to and take like chunk by chunk by chunk kind of. And so we have this. And the very last book that I recently got is a book of the month book actually. And that is The City of Phantom. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. And I have started this book and I love it. And I believe this is obviously book 1. So I'm not sure how many of these she's going to do, like, of this series. But I love it. It's really thick compared to, like, most book of the month books, I feel like, that I have at least. But this is really good. I've tabbed it a few times already. The way that Catherine writes, it's so poetic. And it's just so beautiful. And it's like, the way she describes it. Let me see if I can find something that I've tabbed. Out beyond the glittering city of Phantom in the wild heart of the plains, the midnight moon hung like a lantern in the sky, bathing the farmhouse that belonged to Seraphine's merchant's mother in a soft silver glow. The light crept through Seraphine's window and danced along the pages of her book, and for a moment she imagined the curious moon was reading over her shoulder. She turned the page, the words blurring as her eyelids grew heavy. She should be asleep, but she couldn't rest at the crucial point in the story. Even if she had read it 8 times already, even if at 18 years old, she was too old for fairy tales. So beautiful. Like her writing is just so beautiful. I don't know. Oh, I just love it. So I'm currently on page 60 in this book, which is chapter 5. I'm really loving it. But yeah, that's going to conclude, including like all the Kindle books that are digital. They're just gigs and megabytes. That's all of the books that I've recently hauled, which I'm super excited about. But yes, I am going to now show you some footage over the last couple of weeks. I really do hope that you guys enjoy. And if you did, do not forget to give the video a thumbs up and hit your notification bell and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy all of the little voiced over, music-filled fun activities of the last 2 weeks. And I'll catch you all in my very next video. Bye.